FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. It's February 28th, 2020. Well, what a month. February, huh? A short month. Is a little longer this year, or it will be a little longer this year for the leap year. But crazy things happen in leap years, don't they? Well, hey, what's your feelings? What's your opinion? Let us know. KL@kerrylutz.com. That's the email address. And with us now is our good friend, Gerald Celente. You know him well from Trends Research Institute, a.k.a. Trends Journal. And, well, it's great to have you back, Gerald. So have you gotten your surgical mask yet?
I bought stock in surgical mask companies. I'm only kidding.
Well, that and latex gloves, except they're all made in China now, so you don't have a lot of choices, do you?
Yeah, and with the fertility rates going down so low, I guess the condom business must be off.
I wonder why it's going down, I just wonder why.
It's going down. That's why they're not using condoms.
I guess so. Hey, careful. This is a family show.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Want to make sure everybody's safe.
Yes.
Everybody's safe.
Be safe. So this coronavirus, is it going to be a pandemic, or is it already a pandemic? What do you think the real deal is?
Well, do I believe it can be a pandemic? Yes. I believe that there's going to be a Black Plague 2.0 because of all the poisons that they're putting in our food, the chemicals, the pesticides, the flavorings, the artificial thises and that's, and all the poison that they put in our water and in our air and on the earth. So can there be a pandemic? Of course. Do I think this is it? No. And the reason I don't think it's it because of the numbers that they're putting out. Over 2,500 people died in China. What's the population? 1.4 billion. You tell me 2,500 people died? How many people died in China last year as a result of air pollution?
Oh, yeah.
Over 300,000. So when you look at the numbers, 12 people died in Italy out of what? 60 million people. And then when you look at who's dying, young people aren't. It's mostly elderly and chronically ill. Those people that were on that ship, the cruise ship, they were in the 80s and chronically ill. So I think this thing is, there's a hurricane coming. Watch out. And it's the same kind of thing where you see the reporters, prostitutes, little boys and girls getting paid to put out by their Washington whoremasters and corporate pimps, all dressed up in their outfits, and the wind blowing and the water coming over and onto the boardwalk and trees bending over and to me it's the same kind of thing that they're doing now to get people in the state of fear and terror. And if you don't believe me, go back to this past Thursday and here was the headline story in Yahoo. And it's a great name for it, Yahoo, F-U. Yeah, it's worth nothing. Winter storms marching across the country, moving into Northeast, late Wednesday into Thursday. Watch out, it's going to snow. All right, grow the hell up.
Yeah.
What are they hitting me with this crap for? Because that's who they are. They're just selling fear, terror, and hysteria. So, could this be worse? Yeah, the coronavirus, yes. Are they lying in China? Why would I believe anything China says? Why would I believe one word? Why would I believe one word that comes out of China or out of the American government or the Iranian government or the French government or the Italian government or any Mexican government or any of the governments? So are they lying? Of course they lie. But again, I'm only looking at the numbers. And the numbers add up to nothing.
Yeah, when you look at the annual mortality rate from the flu every year in the United States, flu and pneumonia, it's 60,000 people. And, the mortality rate here, a good friend of mine, his brother, is a physician, he ran the National Cancer Institute, was on the board. I think he might have even been the head of the National Health Institute. And his thing was, hey, we don't know enough about it at this point. There is a vaccine out there already, but it has to be tested. And the way things look, it's going to be like the flu, and it will diminish in the spring. You seldom ever hear of anybody, Gerald, getting the flu in the middle of July or August, unless they have some immune deficiency or their immune system is compromised. For some reason, it doesn't happen. And so far, we haven't seen very many cases at all in South America. Usually the only cases that have been diagnosed are from people who were in China or elsewhere where they were exposed to it.
Yeah. So. And that was the big news on Thursday. One person in Brazil contracted the flu. One person in Brazil contracted the flu. So, that's the kind of thing that they keep putting out. And what is one person in Brazil with a population of 212 million people mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I guess it was Stalin who said it. I used to think it was Mao. One death is a tragedy. 1 million deaths are a statistic, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So
there you go.
So
hey, how about that war in Yemen, huh? Only 100,000 plus people dead. What's a Yemen? I never heard of a Yemen before. What are you talking about? Why are you talking about a Yemen? People are dying of coronavirus. Oh, how about the Syrian war? Over 600,000 people dead. A war started by America and the Arab League of Murderers. How about it? One after another. Look what's going on around the world, and this is the news. It's not news; it's junk.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. What passes for news these days is like what passes for food, and it's fake food. It's fake news, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So talk about the price of gold. You always said for years we had this discussion until it breaks 1450, nothing, and here we are. It's broken 1450. It went up to 1670 plus. Now it's pulled out a little bit, but kind of just as promised, huh?
Yep. It was go back to our June 6th trend alert in the Trends Journal. Gold bull run. And I said it just begun. And gold was $1,332 an ounce. And as you mentioned, this week it hit 1,672 and pulled back. Now, this is very important as I see it. And the motto of the Trends Journal is think for yourself. So the only as I see it, gold should be well over 1,700 if the coronavirus was really going to be the pandemic that the major media is forecasting.
Right.
It would not have pulled back.
Yeah. Yeah. But what's interesting, it's not so much the pandemic that's causing all the economic damage. It's the panic that's been generated as a result of the fear of the virus. It shut down economic activity in China.
Oh, this is going to have it's going to have a negative effect, not only in China, around the world. I mean, people I know that have canceled their travel plans, cruises, trips to Europe, one friend not going to Bali, on and on and on. And so this is going to hurt in a lot of different ways, particularly China. And what it's going to do is going to be bullish for gold because they're already doing it. The countries that, like Turkey and China, that have high inflation rates, like Turkey has a high inflation rate. So when they're lowering their interest rates, even though the interest rates are in double digits, when they lower them, it's still going into negative territory because inflation is much higher. And that's what just happened in China this past week. In China, in January, their inflation rate was over 5%.
Really?
And and their benchmark is a bit over 4%, their interest rate. So they lowered it. So actually they're in negative territory. And that's happening in a lot of countries. Although they have high interest rates and they're lowering them, the inflation rate is higher than the interest rate, much higher.
So negative
they're
rates.
actually in negative territory, and all this is bullish for gold.
Yeah, when there's a real negative return on bank accounts, on instruments, right, on investments, on bonds, then you know that that's a definite net plus for gold.
Yep. So gold, I believe we're going to see gold 2000 this year.
I think you could well be right. Probably later in the year, though. You think it's going to kind of be trendless till the next shoe drops?
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Arcana Corporation is on the verge of bringing the world's highest grade silver mine into production. The Revenue Virginius mine in Colorado has proven improbable silver reserves grading nearly 37 ounces per ton silver with an all-in sustaining production cost of only US $8 per ounce of silver. The mine is fully permitted with infrastructure already in place, and the company has announced they plan to commence production in 2020. Achieving successful production usually results in a significant upward share price re-rating on the Lassonde curve. Arcana trades under the ticker AUN in Toronto and AUNFF in New York. To learn more, go to arcana.com. That's AURCANA.com.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Yes, it will be trendless until the next shoe drops. And again, although I'm saying this is what I see coronavirus going and where I think it's going, I mean, it can. It's like there's going to be a black plague. To me, there's no question about it because of, again, all the poisons, the chemicals, the preservatives, et cetera, that they're dumping into our food, into our water, into the air, into the earth. There's something that's going to wipe out society. And this might be the first step of it.
Well, you know what they say. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen that movie Breaker Morant, which was one of the all-time greatest movies because it really illustrates the lies of government. And Breaker Morant, that was the guy's name, and he was played by, I think, Edward Woodward, late great actor, who said, "Live every day as if it would be your last. For one day, you're sure to be right."
Oh yeah, I'm a firm believer of that. One of my sayings is you better boogie before the lights go out because tomorrow is iffy. So yeah, the lights go out, no, just like that. And the older you get, the quicker they go. And I'm not a kid anymore.
Same here.
So, yeah. And going back to the coronavirus, a very important element about the whole situation, as I see it, is now, ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, watch how a country near you could shut down the entire society and take control of it. Just like they're doing in China, they're doing in South Korea, they're doing in Japan, they're doing in Italy, and they're doing in other places where it's hitting. It shows you the power of the government and how they could clamp down and crack down so hard. And when you see the police states that have been growing over the years, this is what they love to do in police states. So it's a great lesson on how quickly and how permanently and how hard the government can crack down on dissent when they want to and put everybody into quarantine when they feel they have to.
Yeah. Oh, very true. They quarantined whole cities. And look at Hong Kong. Like, we've forgotten all about the Hong Kong protest demonstration because Hong Kong has sealed the border with China. Their airport, its average number of people passing through, 250,000 a day. Now it's down to 4,000. I mean, that in itself tells you a lot, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. This is going to definitely hurt the global economy. But again, the global economy was hurt before this. As you well know, you're getting our magazine, the Trends Journal. We were writing about this for years. And just the last quarter in Europe, the GDP grew the grand total of 0.1%.
Yeah.
And there's no coronavirus, all right? It has been a slowdown going on, and it's just going to continue to get worse.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, but so that means the money printing is going to be like nothing we've ever seen before, right?
That's right. And they're running out of digital money backed by nothing and printed on nothing to print, because you're already going deep into negative territory on rates, and it's not having the impact it used to have. Take the United States, for example. When the Great Recession hit in 2007, interest rates in the United States, the overnight rate was over 5%. Today, it's 1.5. You don't have a lot of room to go down. Then you go to Europe, they're already in minus 0.5% interest rates. Japan, negative interest rates. Switzerland, Sweden. Now they moved out of deep negative, and now they're in zero. So what I'm saying is the central banksters don't have a lot of room to juice the economy this time like they did the last time. So it's going to be the greatest depression, as I see it, and I believe it's going to hit by this time 2021, around March 2021.
So March 2021. So is it enough to stock up gold and bullion and bullets, or what else do you need to do?
Well, guns, gold, and a getaway plan, as I say. It's it'll be mayhem. Look what's going on already. One of our top trends for 2020 is homeless and helpless. Look what's going on in California and other places. It's a major issue. Now, let's go globally. When I say the greatest depression, it's going to be much worse than the Great Depression. Go back to 1930. It's not ancient history.
Yeah, that's
90 years. We've gone from 2 billion people back in 1930 to 7.7 billion people. We've added 5.7 billion people in 100 years, 90 years. So when this hits, you're going to see homeless crisis, you're going to see migrant and refugee crisis, you're going to see violence, crime. It's going to escalate to levels unimaginable. At the same time, the police state will grow even more intense and clamping down on society to levels that will have the founding fathers rolling in their graves.
Yeah, it's a bit disconcerting. So what about the election? Should we just turn off the TV for the next 8 months and forget about it?
Well, it's the presidential reality show. You could see by the one that they just had in this past Wednesday.
Yeah.
What a joke! What a joke! It's a freak show. So it's as we called Trump 2020. It was one of our top trends, and now we're hedging that because Sanders is really gaining strength. And the reason we changed it was because the system that we work with is called Globalnomic, our methodology for tracking trends. And it's taking more than just a global view. It's making connections between different fields. On the global view of the side, a few weeks ago, they had an election in Ireland, and Sinn Féin won. This was the radical group that they call them, that wanted to, have a freedom of the people, so to speak. And they became legitimate. The reason they won, they overthrew two established governments that have been in control now for almost 100 years. Who voted for them? Young people, young people with lousy jobs, young people that got to live with mommy and daddy because they can't afford rent, young people live with mommy and daddy because they can't buy a house, young people burdened with debt, particularly those that went to college. On average, about $38,000 a year? That's on average. $38,000 in debt, excuse me, not a year. And then you look at auto sales going way down among the young people. That's Sanders' base, plus the ethnic groups. And there are more of them than Trump fans. So if they go out to vote en masse, they could win the Electoral College for Sanders, because already, as the polls are showing, Sanders would beat Trump in Pennsylvania. And Sanders may beat Trump in Michigan, Ohio. Right now, Wisconsin's in Trump's camp. But now, as we're looking at it globalnomically, again, making connections between different fields, the farm industry, particularly the milk and cheese sectors in Wisconsin, are really going under quickly. So they may be faced with some economic problems. And the worse the economy goes there, the more they'll go for Sanders. Sanders has a shot of defeating Trump at this stage of the game. It's too early to call it that he would do it. He also has the health issue. He refuses to release his medical records after having a heart attack recently. So the health might be the key issue here. But as far as the numbers go, it could swing for Sanders.
Interesting. Well, who would have thought? Who would have thunk it? But
yeah, we wouldn't have.
Do you think they're going to, the Democrats will allow Sanders to be their candidate?
I don't think they have any say over it.
They have to go with it?
You know, the party, you know, they're going to try to rig the obviously they'll try to rig the convention.
Right.
But at this point, I don't think they'll be able to do it. And when you listen to that guy Carville, my God, what an arrogant, nasty lowlife in the way he comes out and the language that he uses in describing anybody that would want to fight against the so-called establishment of the Democratic Party. They're as Democratic as the Republicans. This isn't the old Democratic Party. It was sold out under Bill Clinton. Anybody could do the research and you could find it. They even had a new name for the movement. This is the guy that gave us NAFTA, brought China into the World Trade Organization. You know, China was busted before Clinton brought them in. And we've lost over some 4 million jobs to China. Their population, their entire population, less than 5% of it was middle class. Today, some 35% is middle class. So, and then this guy Buttigieg or Buttigieg or whatever gig he's running,
Pete
and
Buttplug.
he's coming out against Sanders too. How? What is it?
Pete Buttplug.
Yeah, Buttplug. Yeah, yeah. Remember, this is a family show.
I know. Well, hey, what's a butt plug among family friends, right?
So, I mean, he came out, and it was so they're saying that he's going to be a danger to the established Democratic Party. I call them the dumbo-craps and the repulsivekins. But the point that I'm making, Kerry, is that this is exactly what happened in Ireland and is happening in other nations. They're overthrowing the established parties because they're only established for the people that they take care of, the inside group. That's what they're established for. So because people are suffering so much economically, Sanders has a shot.
Well, that's interesting. We'll have to see. But like you said, his health is definitely an issue here, isn't it?
Yes.
And he won't release his medical records, his heart function.
And the cat's 78 years old, you know. I mean, you're not the same. I mean, I'm 73. I'm not the same as I was when I was 65, you know.
Yeah, and you really take care of yourself. Bernie doesn't look like he ever hit the gym or did any physical activity other than I don't know what physical activity the guy did. Yeah, getting up in the morning seems to be the extent of his physical. He looks like garbage, and
but so the health issue could be the one that brings him down.
Very likely too, because it's going to come out. Because a guy like Carville, he was Clinton's political hitman, and he would do whatever it takes to save the party, as he puts it.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Financial Survival Network is brought to you today by Orin Resources, a junior exploration company with the appetite of a major. It's hot on the trail of the next globally significant discovery, creating enormous potential upside for you, the shareholder. Orin is one of the most aggressive exploration companies pursuing high-grade, scalable gold and copper deposits, and has a premier 7-project portfolio, including its 2 flagships, Committee Bay in the Arctic and Sombrero in Peru. Oren's unparalleled technical team and highly experienced management has a history of success in advancing and monetizing exploration assets. No wonder Oren's been called one of the best in the junior exploration sector. Oren trades on the TSX and the NYSE under AUG. To learn more, go to orenresources.com. That's AURYN resources.com.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Absolutely. They're murderers and thieves. Both parties, by their deeds you shall know them. You know what I get a kick out of, Kerry? How people come, and again, I'm no fan of any of them. I didn't vote in the last election. I won't vote in this one for the candidates that are out there. Well, I get a kick out of they call Sanders a socialist and how terrible he is against capitalism. Oh, yeah? Capitalism? In capitalism, there's no such thing as too big to fail. Isn't that socialism? Hey, socialism for the big corporations and the big banksters, that's okay. But screw the little people. So anyway, I'm just showing the hypocrisy of it, not the support of it.
Yeah, it is hypocritical. You're so right. Because we've socialized the losses and kept the profits private. And it's kind of the worst of all systems that we have now, isn't it?
Yep. Look at the banksters. They're getting all the cheap money so they can keep gambling in the markets. Where we, the little people, where they charge on a credit card, 17%? While they're getting money for 1.5? Oh, no, Celente, take it easy. They're much better than you are. You are a low-life piece of garbage. All you are is a plantation worker in Slavelandia.
Yeah.
We're the Goldman Sachs gang, the Merrill Lynch mob. Yeah, we're the people in control. We get the money for free. Oh, and you other people, even lower than Celente, you got your payday loans. We'll charge you 600%, and we'll get away with it. Oh, you know why? Because the other piece of crap garbage guy, a dumbo crap, yeah, what was his name that everybody loves? Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, right.
He starts doing away with the usury laws.
Hey, what would happen if we reinstituted usury laws?
Oh, it would be great for the people, and it would hurt the big credit card companies. I remember when, as an Italian, it was always, we got to stop these people. They're giving out, with the DA, they always had these Irish accents, Yeah. When I was a kid growing up in New York. We have to stop them. They're hurting the people that could afford it the least. Oh, yeah, they were charging them like 10% interest rates, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay for the banksters to do it. Oh, and I get a kick out of these cops. I just saw something disgusting. He came out of Florida, where you are, where this big, fat, jerk, slimy cop put handcuffs on a 6-year-old girl and brought her into the car because she was screaming and fighting in school.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
6 years old. They're not handcuffs. The things they tie around their hands, whatever they call them. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, those restraints, twist seals, basically.
Yeah, whatever they are.
Twist
6 years old. 6 years old. This guy has a mind of a 2-year-old. Mm-hmm. These are the guys that you couldn't stand in high school that were the bullies. That's who's in charge now, for the most part. Not all of them. And that's where this country's going, down quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's disconcerting. That's for sure. So you think all this is going to happen? What we're looking at, collapse, total pandemonium, chaos in the world. You're looking at what you said, March of next year, you're thinking?
Yep, a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
A year from now, minus a wild card.
Yeah.
And because you can't predict the wild cards.
No.
It's whether they're made by nature or by man. And we don't. And there's no wilder card, by the way, than the Trump card. That's a wild card too. So where this is going, how it's going, it can happen this year, but in all likelihood, minus a wild card, I'm forecasting the greatest depression will hit this time next year.
All right. And hey, one other thing, you didn't talk about Nanny Bloomberg. What are your thoughts about him?
Going nowhere fast.
Yeah.
What's he spent? Yeah, in the great democracy of America, a clown like Bloomberg spent already $500 million to get elected. $500 million. When people, 70% of Americans don't have $400 in case an emergency hits. Oh, yeah, America, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's America. Today's America anyway. Well, Gerald, so Trends Journal, and what's the deal there? How do we sign up?
Oh, look, there's no magazine like it, and I'm not saying it because it's my magazine. It's the only magazine that tells you what's going on, what it means, and what's next, and the accuracy of what we're doing. You look at the current issue, the number of topics that we cover, there's no magazine that comes close to it. And it's only $129 a year for a weekly magazine. Time Magazine is last week's news next week. The Trends Journal's tomorrow's news today. It's history before it happens.
And that's what we're all looking for sure. Anyways, hey, if you got a question for Gerald, myself, please email us. The email address is kl@KerryLutz, Twitter feed @KerryLutz, Facebook page is Financial Survival Network, and the home site is financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Gerald, it's always a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on, and we will be following your work very closely.
And thanks for having me, and thank you, Kerry, for all that you do.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.